Hi everyone. Yes, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kaushal. Thank you for joining.
Morning, Kaushal.
Good morning, sir.
So, first of all, thanks everybody for joining today's session. We are very happy to have our esteemed speakers and participants today for this very interesting topic, which is social stock exchange. A lot of people must have heard about it, but there's still a lot of ambiguity regarding how the structure, what is the structure of SSE, how we can actually register a list in SSEs, and I think today's session will cover that. We are very happy at FinTech Advisor that we were able to get Shilpa ji, Mr. Ramesh, and Mr. Kaushal to join our session as esteemed panelist and speaker and they have taken out time from their busy schedule to join. I think this shows that the commitment of the team of Mr. Ramesh and Kaushal and Shilpaji in imparting education for the knowledge and understanding of SSE. So before we start, I would like to introduce all the three eminent speakers and panelists for today's session. First of all, Ms. Shilpa Kiran. Shilpaji, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Neeraj.
Shilpa ji is a company secretary with over 23 years of experience. She's a practicing registered valuer also and insolvency professional. She serves as an independent director for listed companies. Her practice areas include valuations, corporate law, FEMA compliances, IBC, and NCLT. She has worked in various industries, including banking, construction, and manufacturing. She was the compliance officer of Unnati, the first Section 8 company to be listed on the NSE Stock Exchange. Shilpaji, thank you for taking time and accepting our invite to be a key speaker of the session.
Thank you.
Then we have Mr. Kaushal with us. Mr. Kaushal is an international development professional with over 13 years of extensive sector experience in areas of government advisory, development, strategy and diversification, program design and management, public policy, monitoring, evaluation and learning, and social impact. Currently is working as a senior manager at NSE and is serving for overall implementation of social stock exchange of NSE in India. Mr. Kaushal has designed to implement project worth over $150 million, performing developmental program designs, MEL management and implementation, and proposal writing for central and state governments and donor and multilateral agencies such as World Bank, FCDO, Asian Development Bank, Children Investment Fund, UN organization, etc., across social and economic inclusions and accountability, education skilling, human-centered designs, climate change, business process reengineering, business diversification, and intelligence strategy, agriculture and allied areas. Thank you, Mr. Kaushal, for joining and taking out time from your busy schedule. Finally, we have Mr. Ramesh Swamy from the team of Unnati. Sir, I can take out time, I can do the introduction, but I would really appreciate if you can give the audience a chance to understand what you are doing in Unnati and what is the impact which is it creating in the society. So instead of me talking, I would really appreciate if you can give us just a couple of minutes and inform the participants.
Sure. That's nice of you to have given that opportunity. Thank you. Yes, we are into vocational training, employability, skilling, and jobs for the underprivileged youth in the age group of 18 to 25. Two major models. One is a center model. A youth can walk into the center. End of 35 days, they will be given a corporate job which fetches them anywhere between 18 to 22,000 rupees, irrespective of their qualification. They need not have gone to school even. We teach them English, life skills, values, computers, the vocation, and the job. Right? It is generally we just charge around 1,000 rupees or so in most of the centers. The second program is in the government colleges called UNXT, that is Unnati Next. That is the program which is listed also on the social stock exchange. In the last 3 years, we have done over 4 lakh youth across the country. We teach them English, life skills, values, HR skills, and then connect them to the companies and get them jobs. The impact measurement under this program, because it's a mass program and many youth go for various things that they go for competitive exams and get married, all sorts of things. So this program impact assessment has been 60% under 2 head of accounts, gainfully employed and higher education. And this has been there on the social stock exchange 3 times. Almost 16 listings have happened. We are there with 3 listings in that, and we have closely worked with NSE, and we have had a phenomenal relationship, and we are looking forward to many great things happening in the future. So this is in short what we do. In the last, as I told you, over 4 lakh youth have been trained.
Great to know about Unnati and Mr. Ramesh Swami. Neeraj, we can't hear you.
And sir, without any further ado, I think we can start the session. Shilpa ji, over to you.
A very good morning to everyone. It is my privilege today to be here with all of you, sharing my thoughts on on a new topic, which is emerging role of social stock exchange, a new avenue for CSR. I profusely thank FinTrack advisors and Neeraj Agarwal especially for taking up such initiatives of knowledge sharing on such a very niche topic. I can say this has got a great potential in future with respect to the social stock exchange. I thank each one of you for taking time and joining the session. During the session, I shall discuss with all of you the basics and fundamentals of this topic of social stock exchange. This will be followed by a panel discussion wherein the queries of the participants will be taken up by Mr. Kaushal and Mr. Ramesh Swami. This is how the session is being planned for today. Now let us explore the social stock exchange role. Let us start by understanding what is the need for a social stock exchange. I would like this conversation to be very interactive. I know as and when people have any simple questions or anything they would like to ask on the slide, I appreciate the interactive session. So my question to all the participants is, these days we are seeing so many people, just like that, calling random calls, requesting for, donation. They could be from any NGO. So what is that first thing which comes to your mind when any NGO or NPO asks for donation? Anyone from the participants?
I think so. We receive a lot of random calls regarding donations, and sometimes you feel that this may not be. This mostly it's a scam, right? Because you get so many calls. How do you bifurcate, or how do you evaluate which is a scam or which is a genuine entity, right? So, in terms of social stock exchange, I have always believed that it is better that if you know that the NGO directly or via some sort of word of mouth reference instead of donating on a call. So this is my personal perception. People are free to give their own remarks.
You are absolutely right. Any call which comes to us or any request which comes for donation is always seen as with a suspicion, whether it is genuine, whether, our donation, whatever big or small we are giving, whether it is meeting the purpose for which the donation is being given. That is the foremost concern of each and every donor. This basic concept of creation of trust is solved or addressed by the social stock exchange. So the social stock exchange, in addition to addressing this aspect of trust creation, it also enhances visibility among the institutional donors. When I was a part of Unnati as a compliance officer, at the time, I'm not really sure whether many of us knew or not about Unnati. But the day the social enterprise Unnati got listed on National Stock Exchange, after that, The visibility and the branding of Unnati has tremendously increased, which I have witnessed myself. Any place I go, the moment I say Unnati, people are recognizing the social enterprise. The fact that, it is listed, the fact that, a lot of social media also, whenever any person goes through anything on social stock exchange, this name pops up. Why? Because, Mr. Ramesh Swami has been, very vigorously, he has ensured that their entity is being the first entity to get listed on social stock exchange. And the next need, or why the social stock exchange has come up, is with respect to the social impact. Normally, the social impact is the differentiating factor with respect to any other charitable entity versus an entity which is registered on listed social stock exchange. The statutory authorities have placed a lot of emphasis on the impact. The whole process of social stock exchange is weaved upon the concept of there is a inputs by any social enterprise, whatever materials, whatever resources they have, plus they conduct an activity. Then there is an outcome of the activity. Then there is an output of the activity undertaken by the social enterprise. Then they have outcome, but the real differentiating factor is the social impact. Social impact is given extremely important role in the whole concept of social stock exchange. This is where the trust factor is built up. And definitely the standardization, each social enterprise was having their own reporting and governance practices that is being standardized. So all this, many more are there, but this is the main reason why social stock exchange has come into existence. And I appreciate the government of India for taking up these initiatives like the one which I'm sharing on the screen. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has recently come out with a new amendment with effect from 27th May 2026. The social stock exchange now opened up for the CSR funding. So now what is the meaning? In case hitherto, any CSR activity undertaken by any corporate, and in case they invest or subscribe for any investment or donation in the social stock exchange, in an entity which is listed on social stock exchange, CSR benefit was not available. But with this amendment, the CSR funding is permitted. So I will delve much more in detail. So this kind of opening of CSR funds for social enterprises shows the importance given by the government of India in developing the social sector. Now, as we see, whatever the public sector initiatives are taken, or even the private sector initiatives towards CSR is taken, the social sector, that is the NGOs, NPOs, are all playing a crucial role in bridging the gap of development in various sectors of the economy. With this one amendment, even the CSR funds are opened up to the social sector. Now we will answer this basic question. What is a social stock exchange? Like all of us are aware, the stock exchange is basically a place where capital is raised, shares are traded, and there are financial returns for the person who is investing. Now, when we take this concept of social stock exchange, basically it is a SEBI-regulated platform under the purview of recognized stock exchanges. Eligible NGOs and social enterprises can raise funds through this regulated platform of social stock exchange, and then the social enterprise will focus on measurable social impact. There are no financial returns in case of social stock exchange. It is not an investment per se, an investment. It is basically a donation, but via a regulated platform. And the object of social stock exchange, as I have highlighted, is increased funding opportunities, building the donor confidence, and encourage the impact measurement. when I visited the BSE and NSE website, this is the statistics which I found. As we all know, there are a lot of NGOs, in our country. But then as you see, the numbers are very small. What I want to, we also are having the panel discussion now to address one of this question as this, why the numbers are low and what can the general professionals or the general public or each one of us can do to ensure that these numbers are more. Why do we want these numbers more? We want the social sector to tap as many funds as possible. Why? Why do we want that? Because for those entities who are able to take up such a noble cause and then making a change in our society, we definitely have to lend a helping hand to each one of them. And these
Ma'am,
numbers, yes.
just want to intervene here for a minute. That
Yes.
these numbers are not well taken, though you have referred to the right link. I just want to mention here that registration is different from listing. And right now there are 16 projects listed on NSE Social Stock Exchange,
Oh,
whereas 2 projects are common, which are listed on both the exchanges. And BSE has no unique project listed. I mean, they're still I think their first has recently been opened. But right now there are 2 common projects and all 16, remaining 14 unique are listed on NSE's SSC. Yeah, please kindly continue.
Thanks, Kaushal. Thanks for correcting. And as you can see, National Stock Exchange is very keen. Mr. Kaushal readily agreed when we requested for a session on National Stock Exchange. I can see no wonder the number of NPOs listed on NSE is much higher than what I have taken from the website. But Kaushal, I also want to highlight here that there is a lot of potential. This is also one reason why I appreciate FinTrack and Neeraj Agarwal. See, there is a lot of potential. We know a lot of NGOs are there. We know there are so many investors who are looking forward for an impact investing, not just like that a casual investing. So here, all of us, or as a professionals, have a lot of role to play in an area which is not explored, but definitely there is a potential. Now, with respect to who can register, normally, sometimes when I talk about social stock exchange, I have heard professionals telling, I think only Section 8 companies are eligible to get registered and listed on a social stock exchange. But the regulatory framework as it stands today, it also permits societies registered under Societies Registration Act, as well as public charitable trust, which are registered under Indian Trust Act, as well as the Local State Act. So as per the Local State Act, if you are a charitable entity, trust, still you are eligible to explore and tap the social stock exchange. Now there is this new also, the social stock exchange framework also emphasizes on another activity which is profitable, but that is called for-profit social enterprise. So today's discussion, we are not focusing on for-profit social enterprises. Everything, whatever we are discussing is on non-profit organizations. But this framework is, it's not yet explored. So it is for those companies which will be either listing on a main board or SME IPO, but they can have this tag of social enterprise. That is called for-profit social enterprise. So when it comes to compliances and all, they have to follow normal compliances as well as the compliances which are indicated for under the social stock exchange framework. So any entity going forward who are planning in these focus social activities like environment, education, healthcare, they can explore. As of today, I could not identify any enterprise like which has explored this social activity or for-profit social enterprise listing. But yes, in future, we can expect many more enterprises to come forward and tap this area. The moment when the word social enterprise is tagged, we can expect much more funding into those organizations. Now, we have understood that there are 3 categories of entities which can be registered. So the stock exchange, the SEBI regulatory framework expects that entity has to be in existence for minimum 3 years and audit should be completed. So maybe if 3 years back any one entity is registered and 3 full financial is over, audit is over, then they can consider registering and getting listed on social stock exchange. They should have all the valid income tax registrations, and there should not be any income tax issues. The entity should also have an ATG registration and the financial threshold. This is also one important thing. The regulators do not want very small NGOs to come up, because the whole process itself could come quite costly to the enterprises which are quite small in nature of activities. The minimum annual spending which the social enterprise should have in the previous financial year is 50 lakhs. And the minimum funding or receipts they should have is around 10 lakhs. Whatever the activities the social enterprise is doing should fall within the SEBI's eligible social sectors. And the social enterprises can take up, commercial activity or, for profit, but it should be restricted and much less. So minimum 67% of the activities carried on by social enterprises should be in a recognized eligible social sector. And this also I would like to bring to everyone's attention, the entities which are excluded from social stock exchange. There could be one foundation or organization attached to the main company itself, which is excluded. Political and religious organizations. So it could be a temple trust, it could be associated with any other, religion, everything is excluded. Even a professional or trade association or infrastructure company, housing company, all these are not entitled to tap the social stock exchange. Exception is affordable housing company. The registration process is quite simple. Basically, till now, whatever I have said, the eligibility and all of that has to be verified. The registrations has to be valid, and a professional who is expert in this social stock exchange and related knowledge, he can complete a due diligence from the legal point of view and then prepare the legal and financial documents. Apply. The social enterprise has an option to go either with NSE or with BSE or both. And then after applying to the stock exchanges, the stock exchanges shall reply with an observations if they have any. And then the social enterprise could get an approval to register themselves on the social stock exchange platform. After social stock exchange registration, the social enterprise can raise funds. The time limit which is given is 3 years. Earlier this was 2 years. Now this has been increased to 3 years. Just in case the social enterprise is not able to raise funds within these 3 years, they can renew their registration. It is permitted. Anyone has any doubts till now?
Yeah, Shilpaji, one query has come in the chat box by Mr. KS, I think. Sir, if you can unmute yourself and ask the query directly with Ms. Shilpaji, or I can also...
No, thanks. No, my question is, of course, one of the slides which Ms. Shilpa presented and Mr. Kaushal also intervened. Want to understand why there is gap when social enterprises are keen to register, but what stops them from listing it is, I know it's project specific, but just curious to know, is there anything, from a compliance side, is there something that I'm missing? Just want to understand.
Surely. So I would like to intervene here, and certainly it's a very valid question, and this is not the first time we have been asked. And even we have done some dipstick around this question, that why, NPOs have registered themselves, but that they are not coming forward to list their project, right? So the first thing is 16 projects they have been listed. Until now on NSE, SSE, so far we have around 195 NPOs registered, right? There are approximately 23, 24 projects. Further projects, they are going to raise over 100 crore. That is in pipeline, but they have yet not listed. Still, the gap is a little huge gap. So basic idea, we tried to speak with all the NPOs and ask this question. And what is our understanding is most of the NPOs, they realized over the period that all the fundraising, like, all the donors and funders, they come from the traditional way, right? Whether it's public financing or some donors, they are not allowed. FCRA is not allowed, right? Retail was not there 2 years before. Now retail is there, but retail, as we know, that it can start from 1,000 rupees, but it cannot fund a kind of large project. The idea of bringing this also was first seeing the kind of, like, footfall or kind of traction without even pushing. So that is where that was not a great avenue. Also knowing that ATG is there, 50% of tax benefits are there, but the point is most of the people are in new regime. So that was also not a kind of great avenue. When it comes to institutional donors, corporate can also donate, but before CSR came in recently, it was from 98% of their net profit. So many corporate can also think that either ways we are giving it through CSR, obligation. Why should we give it from 98% also? So that was also not a kind of very attractive proposition for corporates. So things were very limited, and most of the NPOs, they do not have this kind of, experience before, we can say. Second part is like, this is the first time when capital market and social sector coming together, right? Where capital market talks about all the return on investment. Not for profit says that, not for profit by definition only, we can say, yeah, so they are not talking about money. So this is the first time both the worlds are marrying, co-learning, and learning from each other. And it takes time. Like, it's still like, SSC is evolving. Many NPOs have been testing water, that want to see, want to learn, and probably after 2, 3 years, we will come up with that. So these were certain reasons where this gap is there. But now I would like to share one new mindset change, we can say, or behavior change is after 27th of November. Before that, NPOs used to approach us saying that we want to know about social stock exchange. What is this? How we can register? How we can, raise fund? How easy or difficult it is, and all those questions. Now they are coming saying, we know about SSC. Can you please tell us what is the process? We want to raise funds. So initial talk started with, we want to register and want to see if we can raise fund, right? Now they are coming with the first dialogue saying that we want to register to raise fund, because now fund visibility is there. So we'll talk in detail. Hope these lines are able to answer your question to some extent. But certainly we are going to discuss more about it. And then if you have any questions, please, feel free to ask. Would really love if this becomes a kind of interactive session than one person giving lecture and other people are just, listening to that, even if it is relevant or not. Please feel free to intervene, ask, and stop us wherever we are not making sense. Yeah.
No,
Shilpa ji.
thank you very much, Coach. So sorry, if I may quickly, just a quick follow-up.
Yeah.
Do you think could there be little proactiveness in terms of having a sandbox approach, like how we are trying in Gift City? I've tried. I know Unnati. I've listened to some of their experiences. I'm sure that, they will also sort of vouch this. The amount of arduous complaints, stars, lack of clarity. I don't know. I know it's SEBI's this thing, but as NSE, could have there been proactive, try some sandbox facility rather than always being reactive than being proactive.
See,
Sorry, I'm
lot
not
of
being to be
idea.
critical here, but just trying
No,
to.
no, please be that, because lot of possibilities are there, and now it's a kind of sky's limit. We can do so many things. We have recently started something called NSE SSC Ki Pathshala. Somebody said that when you're doing brainstorming, why don't you do it NSE SSC Ka Manthan? It was just an idea. Somebody said that, there is a Shark Tank thing. Why can't we have some dolphin tank? So we have been doing all these things at a very experimental basis, or a kind of, it was all pilot, that whether we can create some kind of pitching platform where NPOs can come and they can talk to like 500 different people. Right? So those people were also NPOs. Now we can think of bringing all those 500 as a potential investor. They will, listen to the project. They will think that whether this project is worth funding or not. So through this collaboration and competition also, we will encourage some bit of outcome-based funding where numbers will speak, where behaviors will speak, where we will also talk about knowledge management, where we will also talk about, sustainability of the project. So a lot of things through this transparency, where as an NPO, when I know that my project data, numbers, everything is going to be evaluated by impact assessor, and that will be posted on, exchange's website. That has a potential, input for some dashboard in future that might bring some unit economics of the project. So today it's 16 project. What about tomorrow if it is 1,000 project? That will certainly create a kind of primacy of bringing some price discovery. There also we have to compete and we have to bring in that kind of value proposition. We used to talk about value for money in a very subjective manner. Can we talk about it through numbers, right? All the statistics and this is how we have been a kind of different from others. So this is just not about competition. This is very positive competition when it is through transparency, right? When it is through all the due diligence. So certainly it will pave a path towards thinking, allowing us to think what could be different innovative mechanism of impact. We will also talk about social impact bond, how it works, right? And how it will bring a different layers of and value proposition of price discovery. So as an NPO, we also have to grow, right? Because I am speaking as a kind of that collaborative wisdom than one side as an exchange and other side as NPO, but as a as an ecosystem player, how we can enable, right? And we can also talk about the journey, how it has evolved over a period of last 3 years. And believe us, Ramesh sir will validate this fact that the way like SEBI has supported this platform, every 6 months we have something new to hear. Every 3 months we have some new consultation paper to talk about. Because this is how this co-learning is happening. It's not like one person is implementing and other person is following. It's not a kind of leader and follower behavior happening, but it's a kind of collaborative journey that both sides are taking one step closer to bring that kind of ecosystem, right? So we will talk about that. Yeah, Ramesh sir wants to say something.
Yeah, KS, I just have to add to what Kaushal has said. Believe me, I am surprised. I have been surprised each time, right from day one. NSC, SEBI, the entire team has been extremely proactive. They have used the capacity building fund to conduct, I don't know how many such workshops on these things. But if the listing has been lower, because it is largely because they cannot, they are not in a position right now to pull somebody and say, you give money here. That is not something NSC or SEBI can do, right? That's the only thing which is missing, but they have been doing it. And I think this CSR thing of 27th May, which has come, is a huge opportunity for companies to participate. I will talk about it sometime, but I want to definitely put on record the kind of support SEBI and NSC has been giving. It's true. Every 3 months, SEBI has been coming out. Whatever you have asked, they have come out and ensured that things are taken care. The only delay would have been on CSR, I can say, which took more than a year. But because there were 3-4 agencies, MCA was involved, CBDT was involved, everybody had a say on that particular thing. So it took some time. Otherwise, they have been extremely proactive.
Thank you, sir.
I think Elvis G wants to speak.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Elvis, kindly unmute yourself and ask the query.
Yeah, I think Jyotika had a hand up first. Jyotika, you want to go first?
Yeah. So I wanted to understand one thing. As you mentioned, Mr. Kaushal mentioned that the companies are already obliged under CSR for giving 2% of their profit.
Mhm.
Again, why should they, get interested in this, right? But there is a provision that if they fund an NPO under SSC, that could also be covered in this 2% CSR
Now it
obligation.
has come on 27th. Before that, it was not there. However, there are so many corporates. They have helped NPOs. They have funded them. Whether it's Zerodha, A.T. Chandra Foundation, and all those, Edelgive. So these are some of the prominent, corporates. They have contributed to different projects from their 98%. But still, that is a basic thought that we are anyway supporting impact, right, through our CSR obligation. It's very difficult to kind of convince them, and all the NPOs or every NPO uh, does not have that reach as well. Now, as we know that if up to 10% can be unlocked through CSR, then that has a kind of huge chunk. Apart from that, CSR is not the only money that can be a game changer, but we will also talk about retail philanthropy and would like to add one thing. Uh, this 3 years of evolution was also a bit conservative, right? It was not like you have to be very aggressively promoting this social stock exchange, understanding that most of the nations tried this concept and they faltered, right? And why we have all the reasons to succeed here, we will talk about this. The most important reason is it is coming through exchanges where financial viability is not going to be a question, right? It is not a business model, it is a social model directly being promoted by government. They are very serious. And this inclusion of up to 10% of CSR is a clear indication and clear sign, right? Today, it has come up with up to 10%. Now we don't know what will happen tomorrow. If this proves to be a better value proposition, if we go by economics, we have all the limited resources, right? We need a lot of money, even more than what is available in public financing, to reach that SDG goals, right? By not by 2030. Now it seems like very difficult, but even beyond that, we have resources which are very limited. So how we can uh, make our unit economics better, right? How we can make this all the fund utilization more effective so that we can reach better impact in that lesser money, right? So that is how the idea is, and that is where, this transparency and trust and all those things will play a major role, right? So that is one thing, Jyotinder ji. uh, After 27th, I want to add here that we just contacted our IT team and asked that, can you tell us that before 27th, April, May, March, what was the kind of clicks on our SSC pages, right? And how it is after 27th of May. So I tell you the average number of clicks were 5,000 before 27th. Now it has gone up by 3 to 4 times. And gradually it will increase only once more listings will come, more registrations will come. And we are also getting a lot of traction from funders. We are trying to make it more kind of simpler, and we are trying to be how it can be more comprehensible to NPOs also, because all the NPOs do not have the kind of same bandwidth, right, where they have dedicated resources. We will talk about all those things, what we are trying to do as our initiative, because we are not just providing a platform that this is the platform, if you have to come, this is the process, we have uploaded all those things. But we all are very well responsible to enable this ecosystem so that we feel proud of having this platform with a successful numbers over a period of time, right? In 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, right? And it's just 3 years. And out of 3 years, the first year, second year, we're just experimental with so many thoughts. Now CSR is here. So many other things also we are doing, I will talk about. So hope Jyotinder ji, it was able to answer your question. And I believe there is one more question, Elvis ji, if you can quickly ask so that Shilpa ji can complete her part.
Sure. I'm coming more from a corporate perspective. My past life, been leading the CSR programs, also dealing with FCRA funds, almost up to $1 million coming into the country. From a corporate perspective, I'm just trying to understand what changes for a corporate in the sense like today we already had the CSR rules, right? Companies have pretty much are already established over the last 10 years, the organizations that they want to work with, that they're working with, the due diligence that they put behind it, the checks and balances, all of it, right? I know it's not foolproof. I've heard of organizations just keeping the money on the books and stuff like that, but there are genuine organizations for funding and genuine NGOs are doing the work. So no, all credit to them. So what changes for the corporate from this perspective? Because whenever I try to read about this, and I've spoken to a few people trying to understand this more, and the first question I always get is like, why should I put my money on the stock exchange? I can understand that if I'm an organization where I don't have visibility to the NGO sector or the markets or the kind of work that's happening, I think all the organizations getting listed on the stock exchange gives me an insight. But I think today we are all well connected to know what's happening in what region, what state, which are the prominent organizations out there, the credibility, the reporting standards, everything. Or the second part is to that question is that even for a retailer, like an individual, there are organizations like Rangde, Mila, Kickstarter, where I could put my money in, know where that money is going. Even if I'm a small investor, I have more control on where I want to get my money in. So what changes for me as an investor or as a corporate who's putting money onto a social structure?
Surely. So first from corporate point of view, and I can answer this question also because we have reached out to more than 200 corporates. I've been engaging with more than 25 till now, and they are from different size mix as well. So the biggest problem it is solving is the due diligence part that certainly leads to that trust. And I can tell you when we compare, we are not questioning that they are not robust, they are not kind of like, detailed due diligence happening. But when it comes to like, due diligence by exchange, we all know that, it's two different level, right? Say, for example, if one NPO decides to register, it also talks about having their PAN cards, all the trustees or board members' PAN card. And what they are going to do is we have our own systems to run them through, right? If they are going through any scrutiny or anything has happened before, if anything was there before which might affect their credibility, right? Which might not like, even if it is donor and even if it is they're putting just 1,000 rupees, we can't say that this is just a donation, this is not investment, because we are considering this donation as an investment for social return if it is not financial return, right? So that is one thing which is very much clear. Second thing is, their evaluation part, impact evaluation that will be built as a part of the project only. So they don't have to think about that. And all those documents will be there in the public domain. You can simply click on our website, you can go there, you can read all those through. And this is not from whether one corporate has donated 50 lakhs to that project or one individual has donated 1,000 rupees. So this is how this is creating that transparent platform. And this is also democratizing that knowledge of about just not fundraising, but also about the impact, right? And these differentiators are not there when we talk about any crowdfunding platforms, right? We can talk about certain crowdfunding platforms, but we know how much due diligence they are doing, how much impact assessment they are doing, how much robust they are when it comes to having that kind of capacity and bandwidth to monitor things, right? When it comes to social stock exchange, there is a kind of just not compliance, but there is post compliance also. You have, if your project is listed in every 3 months, you have to submit your utilization report that will go public. I mean, that means that it is transparency. That means that if I am putting 1,000 rupees and I'm not satisfied by the impact evaluation report, or maybe I have some doubt on the utilization, I can simply write an email saying that I want to understand this more. right? So it is just like you're giving one platform where things are so transparent that, yeah, sir.
Complete.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
No,
no, sir. Yeah, please add.
Mr. Elvis, I see both sides. I go to a donor and a big CSR company which has a lot of due diligence on every document, everything, and I have gone to the social stock exchange. Believe me on one thing: the kind of rigor which the social stock exchange, SEBI, and the government-appointed audit firm. Please understand, it is a government audit firm which does it, not an audit. It's not just an assessor. It goes beyond. It's like almost like the take a CA firm where an article student can prepare the balance sheet, prepare everything if he is very good, but he cannot sign it. It has no value. It has to be signed by the auditor. Similar is the case here. The audit is done by the assessor, but the audit firm approves. So there is huge amount of difference. Second point I would like to, it may not be true in many cases, so I don't want you to, I'm not trying to brush it with the same paint across, but believe me on one thing, in the impact measurement, suppose you take a 5-year program or 3-year program, you are allowed a 3-year program in SSC. And somebody says, I am training children on 8th, 9th, and 10th standard. And at the end of 10th standard, this is the impact I will be showing it to you. Many times the CSR will accept it because it is 3-year project. They are clear on the outcome on the 10th, after the 3rd year. This is very clearly defined and CSR may accept it. In the social stock exchange, it is not acceptable, sir. In the social stock exchange, you say 8th standard is completed. They are saying get an audit done of the 8th standard and show us the results. You declare exactly the impact on measurement of the 8th standard, show it to us, get it audited. Get the 9th standard done. What is the impact you're going to create at the end of 9th standard? Show us the result and get it audited. So audit happens every 3 years, not once after the project is over. So there's a huge aspect change in that area also. Third, of course, if somebody does not like me in a CSR, they are not, they can just go away. They say, okay, we didn't find everything all right, and they will go away, right? But in a stock exchange, if somebody says it is not all right, the whole organization is blacklisted. So you need to, your neck is on the block every time throughout the whole period. So there's a marked difference in the two, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I have really understood that the Indian government is considering whatever the social enterprises are requesting. As can be seen on the screen, the minimum offer size was earlier 1 crore. Now the government has reduced it for just 50 lakhs. And the minimum application size was 2 lakhs earlier. Now it is 1,000. Earlier retail investors were not permitted. Now it is permitted. And even the minimum subscription initially when it was the rules as it was 75%. Now that is reduced to 50%. Indian government is really interested to push this as a concept. They want the social enterprises to take benefit of this. For any social enterprise, even if they start with the minimum 50 lakhs as an offer size and they are able to get 25 lakhs, which is actually achievable and reasonable for any medium level of social enterprise. So this is the idea with which the government is working, encourage as many social enterprises and give them all the flexibility. Wherever feedback is coming from social enterprises, like how Mr. Ramesh Swamy said, the government is listening to it and easing the norms of the offer. And the instruments which we are, which is used in this social stock exchanges, unlike an equity share, which is normal in a normal stock exchange, the instrument name is called zero coupon, zero principal instrument. This is nothing but a donation, either a simple donation or a CSR contribution. And social impact fund is also one methodology of funding which is permitted under social stock exchange. But the most popular is the zero coupon, zero principal. Zero coupon means no dividend, no interest. Zero principal meaning principal will not be repaid. That is why I use the word, basically it's a donation, it's a contribution to the social enterprise. But then whoever is investing, they will get a certificate, ZCZP bond certificate, rather in a demat mode. So this CSR contributions by any corporates, as this is the new amendment and government want to really test and wait and watch approach has been made by the government. So only 10%, if I am a corporate and I am obligated to contribute say 2% of my profits, and the calculations and all, each one of you are aware, out of that only 10% the corporate can contribute to the ZCZP if that is the instrument used by the social enterprise during the offer period. Okay, it's not 100% of CSR. Presently, it is not eligible, but only 10%. So if I'm a corporate, what is the advantage? In case I choose to subscribe for this ZCZP instruments, then there is no real work of utilization certificate, no impact assessment, which I have to take up. The responsibility is being shared by the social enterprise itself, since a lot of compliances the social enterprises itself has to take up. And this is the whole process which I have tried to give in a snapshot form. First, there will be a registration. Then the social enterprise will identify a project. For that project, fundraising document, the social enterprise could have undertaken many initiatives, but it can pick and choose a project, and then for that project, it can raise a fundraising document. This fundraising document is relatable to a prospectus in a normal scenario. So everything about the project and the entity will be mentioned in the fundraising document. And initially, it will be a draft stage. Then the company can immediately start with the public funding campaign. So once a document is available, they can start approaching the investors. And once the stock exchanges give approval, in principle approval from the stock exchanges, then they can get a firm commitment from the donors. Actually, I call them not as investors, but actually it is a donors. So the issue can open. The issue will be open for certain minimum time. After that, whatever subscriptions are received by the social enterprise, accordingly allotment can happen. What I mean is, in case minimum subscription is not received, then the social enterprise has to mention in the fundraising document, in an event of under subscription, how they will be completing their project, how the balance funding will be undertaken by them. In case of oversubscription, the social enterprise will not be able to keep the money. They have to refund the money as if it's a normal oversubscription, a normal stock exchange scenario, listing scenario, how the money is refunded. Same way the money will be refunded. But then the social enterprise can approach the donor separately and get a donation in a normal methodology. And then after the subscription allotment, the entity can list its instruments, and the social enterprise has to continuously use the proceeds or the funds in the procedure what is mentioned, or in the projects or activities specifically mentioned in the fundraising document. After that, there is impact reporting and disclosures, website disclosures, materiality policy and all has to be formed, post-listing, utilization of the reports, then certain annual compliances. So now, after all this process,
Shilpa,
yes, Shilpa.
what happens if it is not fully subscribed or it is partly subscribed?
Basically, minimum subscription is 50%. Say in one social enterprise has the offer size of 50 lakhs, it was able to collect only 25 lakhs. 50% is sufficient to complete the listing process. In case the funding goes below 50%, then the amount has to be refunded.
So that
Yeah,
means
so
it will not get
just want
listed.
to add here, Sheetalji. So 75% is the minimum subscription. It was 50% flexibility is given basis the project is able to bring meaningful impact, right? So say for example, if one project is capex heavy, in that case, at 50% funding, it won't be able to create that kind of outcome of the project. In that case, 50% approval may not be given. And if it is given, so what happens that when it is this draft fundraising document is submitted, then that time only, as a part of the document, NPO has to write that what if we achieve only 50%, whether there is a rationale of bringing those meaningful outcomes at 50% or not. What will happen if it is between 50 and 75%? What if there is a scenario where it's only between 75 to 100%, and 100% is anyways 100%. So it will also help a funder whether I want to fund this project if it is achieving only 50% of the subscription, whether it is giving me meaningful satisfaction or not. So that will be one part. But say, for example, after listing, we are in the process of bringing that change also. After listing, I have received 87% fundraising, which is not 75%, not 100%, right? It's 7%. I mean, or around 12% more than 75%, yet 12, 13% lesser than 100%. So in that case, at that specific cost or fund raised, they will have to submit one solution implementation plan. That what will be my revised KPI for this project? This is how much I'm going to achieve, and basis that only social impact assessor will, assess my project. So that is what the idea is.
Okay, got it. Do we have underwriters kind of parties also in this social stock exchange during
No, not
the?
yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. Because it's basically a donation, so underwriting as a concept does not exist. We have registrar to the issue, we have bankers to the issue, we have all this escrow account, ASBA, all of this is applicable, but not with respect to underwriting.
Your
Okay?
donor is the underwriter.
Sorry?
Yeah.
What?
Your donor who agrees to support you is the underwriter.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Thanks.
Yeah,
So
please go ahead, Baji.
as I have
Yeah.
already stated, once the listing is completed, it's upon again the social enterprise. This is an opportunity or an encouragement given by the government of India. So once any entity is able to list itself, then I am sure it comes to the attention of everyone, general public. Now, as I have told, it is for the social enterprise to bring this in various social media channels or in their performance, or when they approach to the institutional investors. And definitely foreign funds can be tapped separately when there is a FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act registration is there. CSR funds again can be taken up only when CSR 1 registration is there. These two also the social enterprise should keep it in mind. Mr. Ramesh, are you trying to say something?
No,
You're on mute.
FCRA is not allowed right now.
Not allowed? Okay. So if any foreign donor is interested, they cannot come via social stock exchange. They have to separately contribute under FCRA.
However, NRIs can donate if they have
NRIs.
NRO account. Yeah.
Okay. NRI is permitted. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the benefits of the donors and CSR contributors? The donor can be very, happy that whatever purpose he has donated, that is completely utilized. And there's a lot of reliance plays, as Mr. Ramesh said, the stock exchanges appoint, social impact assessor, and then it's thoroughly done much more in depth than a financial audit. And the whole concept as a social stock exchange, I feel the new aspect is the social impact. Social impact in the sense, what are the KPIs? What are the goals which the entity as such wants to achieve? And then this measurability is also important. So what are the tools of measurement? How the statistics or the data is collected? All this is one additional thing which normally I say Section 8 companies have got a very good governance structure. But then when it comes to trust or society, maybe they are lacking in a couple of cases. So those entities have to really work towards identifying the KPIs, having a sufficient data, collection of data and verification and validation of the data, whatever they have done and whatever activities they have done. Take the feedbacks, take the interviews couple of times. Like say in case of Unnati, I was checking their social impact report. Interviews were taken well ahead. Say today they have undergone a training. One feedback will happen immediately after that. One feedback could happen after 6 months, maybe after 1 year, and interviews and feedback will be taken from the employers, trainers. I have seen the whole feedback mechanism, normally I have seen in a social enterprise, maybe once they can take. But the social stock exchange emphasizes the point that feedback and impact are extremely crucial and strong pillars of this whole framework as such. And once the registration is completed, that time also the entity is expected to disclose, especially in their website and the annual disclosures. And once the entity is listed, the disclosures are little more in depth. The financial disclosures, non-financial disclosures, governance disclosures, operational disclosures, like this, everything is listed out in the SEBI LODR regulations. I will also go through towards the end the regulatory framework with respect to compliance. Mostly it is listed on regulation 91C of the LODR regulations. The non-financial disclosure with respect to the entity as such is due within 60 days from the end of the financial year, and the financial disclosures is due date is 31st October. And we also have social impact assessment report, which is mandatory. It is given by an impact assessor with respect to listed entities, with respect to registered entities, social impact report. So the entity itself will generate a social impact report and submit it to the stock exchanges. ICAI has developed this social audit standards for each of the social activity. The ICAI has come out with a social auditing standard. Almost 16 social audit standards are there. I have just given an example. SAS 100 talks about eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition. If any of the social enterprises is, say, for example, promoting healthcare, they are in this area. So this social audit standard will help them to establish a system. See, auditor is there, he will come and audit. But the social enterprise also should be ready on what parameters audit will be undertaken by the, instead of social auditor, the new terminology now is social impact assessor. And how to become a social impact assessor? Anyone who is interested in this area is, can take up this examination, which is called Social Impact Assessor Certification Examination. And the examination pattern is 100 marks, 85 MCQs, and it's all MCQ based. It is physical. You have to go to the NISN center and then give an exam. Negative marking is there. Passing mark is 60%. And whoever is, taking up this responsibility of social impact assessor, going to the social enterprise, auditing, all of that, they should have this qualification. And we have come, yes.
Shilpa, but this is a certificate course, and on the website it is given its validity is only 3 years. So after 3 years, what happens?
Again, it has to be renewed.
So that means again exams will happen?
I don't think exam will be conducted. It's a simple renewal process.
Yeah. So there will be some refresher training as well there.
Okay, so I've just
right?
given it last week only, so I'm in a better position.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Please share your experience there.
So they've given you two options. Either you can go for a revalidation, that is a pure exams, or you can register for a ECP program with NISM only. So in that, there's a pre-recorded video of the entire, they're covering major parts of the entire social impact assessment and audit. And then after that pre-recorded video is over, you need to answer a few questions. Once you answer those questions, it is done, and the revalidation happens and you get a new certificate. After that, you get a new certificate. You have to send that certificate to your institute, either ISAI or ICMIR SRO or ICSI, wherever you are registered. So this is the process. It's quite simple with the ECP.
And Sheetalji, it's not about renewal, but when you talk about social impact assessment, this cannot be as a checklist that, I have renewed, I have this. Social science is a vast, and ongoing learning will always happen, because this will have kind of just not approach and methodology, but also understanding the soul of the project to do that kind of, assessment. So a lot of learning is there. So even if this is a kind of landmark, or this is something where you have to renew it, believe me, once you get into the entire research metrics, this will just be nothing for you, right? Because you have to understand the entire social research rather than taking it as a kind of exam and renewal. It's not financial, it's social also. And this kind of blend will help you differently. So it's not a kind of one activity wise thing. but it's getting deep into the research part as well.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Yep.
I have just one point to add. This assessor or social impact assessor examination is one of those NISM, but the audit firm has to necessarily sign the report. So
Yeah.
that's a very important distinction because we have over 1,000 plus assessors already in the country, but we hardly have around 7, 8 audit firms which are approved by either IICA or ICMAI or ICSI, right? We don't have, and they have to, these three departments have to approve the audit firm. Then only that audit firm is the only people who can sign it, and that only can be accepted for the NSE and SEBI.
So the responsibility has been cast on ICMI, ICSI, and ICAI, social auditor, social audit organization. The social impact assessor has to, make a firm and then get registered under these bodies. Only then they are permitted to do audit under social impact assessment, which is mandatory for listed entities. And I would just 2 minutes, I will finish this regulatory framework. The master circular on, for framework on social stock exchange is in addition to the LODR regulations, which each professional should be aware of. This was given on Jan 1926, but after this also a couple of amendments have happened. Then we have, 1 minute. We have the BSE Social Stock Exchange website. There is a separate website, BSE Social Stock Exchange, wherein fundraising documents, how to get listed, everything, list of registered social enterprises, everything is mentioned. Whatever compliance calendar is also mentioned under this website. And we also have a separate website by NSE India Social Stock Exchange, wherein all the processes are specifically mentioned. And I have seen Unnati's website. Sorry, I'm not able to show it now. 1 second. So Unnati has done a great job, documenting their journey. So when the social stock exchange, anyone needs to know, the stock exchanges will give a format, but social stock exchange, whatever Unnati has registered itself, the registration documents, the listing documents, each one they have highlighted. So whatever work they have done, they have documented it so that the social enterprises can comfortably see what Unnati has done and then change it for their documentation and complete the process, even the listing documents. So this will come really handy for anyone who wants to take up such kind of assignments with respect to registration or listing or impact assessment. With this, I would like to, end my session and enable the participants to ask queries directly to the panelists.
Can I just come in for a minute?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I know there's a lot of emphasis laid on.
KSG, one request, if you can just share your name.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry, my name is Sudarshan. I'm from Chennai. I should have, typed it. It's just the Saturday laziness. Apologies for that. But thank you. It's very insightful. My question is slightly moving away from the compliance side. I could see that SSC has made significant sort of progress in terms of disclosure, social audit standards, which gives credible information. But from a user standpoint, let's say, be it a CSR or an investor, when I juxtapose it with a normal capital market, right? I look at a stock's ROE, EBITDA margin, debt equity, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Now, how will I do such comparison? Is SSC coming out with a standard KPI? Let's say there are two projects. One, Mr. Ramesh started off with children education, and there's another project which talks about carbon emission, right? Now, how will I, as an investor, know which gives me social value? I understand social auditors and all those things, but I cannot go to Unnati's website to look at it. I cannot go to another NGOs to look at it. So the point I'm trying to drive is, good to have credible, but how will I get comparable information if you're looking at tapping or unlocking philanthropy capital or NGO capital?
No, no, surely. So one thing is like, the first part you are talking about the mechanism. So there are three kinds of investors here. Maybe like, this institution or corporates. If they want to donate through their CSR funding, then they just have to have their Demat account. For a retail donor also, they have to have that Demat account. So when I see some project is open for donation, I will say here donation because ZCZP is the instrument name and it's called zero coupon, zero principal. It should not confuse people that this is kind of some instrument that will give me return on my investment, right? In financial terms, it will be completely like social term, like social return on investment we are talking about. So before donating that, just like you may be going through their DRHP or RHP, right? Uh, Same way, you will go through the fundraising document as well, and that will have the entire project design mentioning about the theory of change, how this project is going to run. There are certain KPIs, what will be there, including their costing, that how they are going to, they have derived this costing that they are going to raise 2 crore. Entire split and all those things will be there for your, kind of study. And then only like, if you think that this cause is something that I care for and I should support, your platform will enable you to fund that project, because having Demat account is mandatory to be a donor for, to fund social stock exchange projects, right? So this is how your KYC is already done, and one platform that is enabling you in investing, for investing in shares where you talk about financial return, but same time, the same platform will also enable you to donate to certain projects for your social return, or maybe like just donation in zero coupon, zero principal. Yeah. Yeah, Ramesh.
Yes. So, Sudarshan, to further answer that question, first thing is, it's a very difficult question to be answered easily by an NGO. Most of us will not have that answer because many of us would not have done that kind of analysis easily. You have to finalize a theme which you like, right? Carbon emission. If you are so fond of environment, you will go for the carbon emission. If you are concerned about the employability, you will come to somebody like Unnati, children, somebody else, right? So this is one way of looking at it. The second thing which you asked is generally what happens is only very big companies actually go and see the ROI, return on investment. Anything above 3 is supposed to be very good. For example, Unnati, because we were funded by an organization and they did a PwC did an audit for them, they came out saying that 9.5x is our return on investment. So they did a big calculation and all that. So I don't think easily an NGO can put up this figure. Very difficult to put up that kind of ROI figure because it is a multiple aspect and then they arrive at that. But I think team should define where you want to put your money.
Noted. Thank you very much. No, I agree, Coach. I understand the ecosystem. I was only trying to see, from a larger perspective, when we're trying to evolve SEC into a successful funding platform. From a normal investor, why do I come to SSC? I come to SSC because I can always go to an NGO where I find it. That's how FinTrack also started the question. So I was just trying to see if there are any measurable aspects like a sector-specific KPI in the future or benchmarking, digital impact dashboards. I don't know. That was the direction which I was asking.
All of that happens, sir. All of that will happen because impact assessment, you will find that the impact assessment audit reports are very, very detailed. So that is number one. Number two, it's in a country where the Prime Minister said, out of 1 rupee, only 17 paisa reaches the masses. This was made in public. Right? So here's an opportunity where we can be rest assured that 90% actually reaches the even if you take out 10% on admin or all those extras, you still know that 90% is being delivered there and it is in the public domain. So there is a huge amount of credibility which comes into the whole ecosystem. And of course, when people start recognizing it, then it becomes a very different ecosystem.
And Sudarshan ji, that is the idea. Right now, we have just 16 projects, right? So if you are aware, there is something called Capacity Building Fund, and that was a kind of umbrella fund was created just to support the ecosystem and build the capacity of the entire ecosystem. Understanding that capital world and social world, they were in different extremes, right? So that was one, and through that, we are also thinking of, and we are in the process of bringing that kind of dashboarding, which will be kind of uniform or unified dashboard, where it will just not give you information and give information to, like, one student who is doing research on social stock exchange, to governments who want to see which NPO will give me better value for, say, for example, implementing some project in social impact bond. I'm talking about all the futuristic things. But yeah, once we will have hundreds and thousands of projects, say, for example, on social stock exchange, out of which 50 projects are working in education or healthcare, and considering that some bit of like filter of socioeconomic criteria or something like that, right? So that is where, if there are 50 projects being implementing in this area, what is the unique dynamics, right? So that will also give some sort of comparability or some sort of price discovery. But this is certainly like a vision, like few years down the line, when we will have enough projects to compare and analyze their impact numbers. And that's the idea, because all those numbers in isolation, once they will come together, they will make a lot of sense through that transparency and this thing.
Got it. Thank you. I was also coming back, since I work on the blended finance space. I was also trying to see how this, of course, CSR is also acting as a blended finance catalytic, but through SSE, given that the SSE has this credible information, transparency, I'm just trying to explore, and that was where I was also seeing how it can act as a catalytic capital.
Certainly, I would like to answer here that social impact bond is, again, like whenever nowadays we are talking about different social financing, it's either blended or we are calling it innovative outcome-based financing. And social impact bond is tried and tested outside the exchange's premises. The idea is like, I can give you one example, that every government has to spend some money on different schemes. And if it is not cash transfer, then certainly outcome becomes very critical indicator, that whether that is expenditure on certain schemes is delivering results or not, and whether those results are efficient or not. So the idea is, through this outcome-based financing, government will park that money. I mean, that is one of the kind of draft frameworks that I'm talking about. So you can take it as a kind of case study or illustration, where MP government has already announced their first social impact bond, project. And you can see details of that project on our website, also in our draft fundraising document section, where NSDC has submitted that project. Right? Yeah, Ramesh sir.
Yeah, no, outcome-based funding is, your blended finance. If you can bring it into the SSC as an outcome-based funding, then it's phenomenal, because you can, even a for-profit can come in and help and take a percentage out of it based on outcome-based finance. So blended finance is something which is so critical, and I think it can be the next step for SSC, and that's where the big ticket items will start.
Yeah, so that is where, this instrument is also placed in the working group report, where you can go through. There are certain different instruments around. Mutual fund is also mentioned there. The idea of bringing ZCZP was, first bring one instrument, make it successful, and then think about the other ones, right? It's a one step at a time. And that is where, social stock exchange is not just crowdfunding platform, where we had spoken some time back, right? So as a part of social impact bond, government says that I can give this money only when the outcomes are achieved, right? And that will be parked somewhere. So then in between, some risk funder will come. They will say that, okay, I will charge this much risk premium and I will fund the NPO to implement that project, because NPO does not have that much capital to implement that project, and after that only they will receive that fund. So that is how we are trying to create this mechanism where is funder will bringing that money, put in that money. Uh, Implementation NPO will implement that project, showcase that outcome, and that will be assessed by the social impact assessor. It will be shown, sent to, kind of outcome based funder, and that is when the fund will be released. It can be at one go, it can be through milestone basis also. So a lot of things are there. We have already worked on their you know legal templatization and all those stuff. So a lot of things are going on. It is under discussion that what kind of framework will suit to the best interest of all the kind of stakeholders. So a lot of things are happening, Sudarshan ji, and one step at a time. And 3 years have been kept a bit conservative, where we will understand and soak in the system, where NPOs will also start relating themselves to the capital market world, because there was a kind of disconnect, right? Where I can't relate myself to the capital market, right? Lot of nomenclatures, jargons that you have to learn through, especially when you come for the fundraising. There is no merchant banking. I mean, they're not like, required and mandatory. Understand that NPOs are very price sensitive, considering that we are working for social causes and all those things. So a lot of things, and I would request everybody here to go through working group report, technical group report, because 1.5 hour, 2 hour discussion will not suffice entire thing. We can only put in food for thoughts, to think through about social stock exchange, but we cannot talk all the angles and aspects about this. So go through all those literatures, well researched by all the well established and knowledgeable kind of thought leaders. That will give you a lot of different lenses of thinking around social stock exchange. Yeah.
I appeal, taking this opportunity, I would like to appeal to all the professionals here to get into the nitty-gritties and, intricacies of all the regulatory expectation of compliances, disclosures, and then, bridge the gap between the social enterprises who do not understand these terminologies well and the expectation of regulators, with respect to reporting compliances. And as and when a social impact report is made by the social impact assessor, everything should be readily available, so that socially, stock
So
exchange
now
readiness
there was a
is the
time
needed
when
plan.
there was very less knowledge about social stock exchange on public platform. Now you can go through our website, you can see search website where all the documents and practical aspects are there. You can use them as template. There are a lot of YouTube videos also. So now we cannot complain that I'm trying to know about social stock exchange but unable to find any information. Right? It's all about my curiosity, whether I go on Google and search about it or not. And beyond that, if I'm not able to understand anything, even our emails are in public domain. You can write to us, and whenever you write to sscbd@nsc.co.in, you will receive my response, our response within a day. Uh, at times within an hour also, if I'm available to respond to your question or just sending all the details.
That's nice to know about the National Stock Exchange initiatives, that, you are quite approachable. So you have just now.
Jebas has raised his hand.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Mr. JBAS associate have raised his hand a few time back. So sir, can you just unmute yourself and ask your query? JBAS Associates.
Yeah, I had raised my hand way back. The discussion was going on. So, quite a minutes back, someone mentioned about there are some 7-8 firms who are there, though they are listed and empaneled in IAS, AIS something. Still, it has to be a firm registered with ICAI, and then only they can do the social assessment, social impact assessments, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, is it like only 7 or 8 companies are there, firms are there who are as of now existing in the exchange?
See, sir, may I know your name?
This is Jyotindra.
Yeah, Jogendra ji, if you go through all these SRO's website, all these names are listed there. And if we see, there are hundreds and thousands of different social impact assessors just to uh, understand what social assessment is and all those. They may have different reasons of passing that exam and getting that certification. And understanding that it was still in, like, CSR was not there. They are just, 16 projects listed. So this has not been a very kind of prominent or a kind of very specific effort for those people to register their forms. However, this is going to increase over a period of time. And we also expect that when SSC brings projects of big volume, like, say for example, 10, 20 CR, 30 CR, 40 CR, then that time, like, even Big Fours or other, impact evaluation is specific, like, experts will start coming on board and they will say that we want to be a part of social stock exchange. So this is still in a kind of evolution phase. Till now, even 7 is a decent number, and I'm sure that over a period of time it will go up to, like, maybe we will see hundreds of such forms onboarded.
Okay, okay, sir. Just to be specific, I am a chartered accountant in profession, and I have my CA firm registered with ICI, and also I am in the list of that empaneled social auditors.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah.
so right now, what I need to do to register my firm as well? As you said, firm needs to be registered.
So you have to, reach one of SROs, and what I can do is, you can send me a message. I can share my number also. I will give you contact of right people there. You can directly message them. I will send your number also, share your number also with them, so that tomorrow you can, or maybe on Monday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday.
Yes.
You can reach out to them and you can get to know about the processes. You can discuss and
So
get
this is
your form registered.
okay.
Yeah.
Great, sir. Thank you. This is basically about registering the firm as well in the list, right?
Yeah. For everything, they will guide you through because they are the ones they are doing it, right?
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And any professional who passes exam has the option of choosing from the three bodies, ICI,
Yeah.
ICSI, and ICMEI. Anyone, they can register their firm, and only the firm is eligible for taking up social impact assessment.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Actually, my question to Mr. Ramesh is, many social enterprises, whomever have tried to approach and then put up this as a funding opportunity, the first question they ask is, some X amount could be the expense which we feel could be their cost. But then I do not see any investor who is coming in. They only want to come as a donors in a normal traditional way, either CSR, ATG, whatever normal donation. So what is your suggestion to us as professionals and also to social enterprises, why they should consider this and not a traditional thing, like CSR or ATG or normal simple donation?
Firstly, I want to first thank Neeraj ji and this whole forum. And I presume that a lot of you are company secretaries in this forum, right? You all have taken a back seat for many years. I think you must be in the forefront because anything connected with compliance, whichever company we go to in the CSR space, the chartered accountants talk about the figures, the details, but who looks after the compliance? It is only the company secretary. They have to approve the compliance part of it, governance part of it. And unfortunately, they have not come into this CSR domain in a strong way. I believe that here's a brilliant opportunity for you to look at it, number one. And you have big say in the whole process. Because if a company secretary tells the board that as a part of compliance, we should do this, there's no second opinion. It will be done. So you have that kind of power wielding ability to tell a board that we should look at CSR. Now, why will you say that? Because number one, you are talking of an ecosystem. I want to look at it as an ecosystem. For a company, if they are giving 10 rupees, they are getting 10 rupees of benefit. Whether you give directly to the organization or as a compliance part of it, your 10 rupees is taken care. Yes, there is a possibility that 10 rupees you give 1 rupee goes off as various aspects of the and 9 rupees is delivered. But that is where you're building the ecosystem. You're saying that this ecosystem ensures 9 rupees goes to the field, and you should be happy about it. So create that ecosystem, build that ecosystem, because many times companies are giving money and they are not able to do impact assessment, right? Now you tell me, when a company is not giving a crore rupees, more than a crore for a project, compulsory audit is not there. Even a compulsory audit might be done by an assessor, not an audit firm, right? Whereas here, when I do even a 40-50 lakh project under SSC, an audit firm is going through the entire impact. So there's a huge difference. There's a price to pay for it. Out of 10 rupees, if you're paying 1 rupee as a price for this purpose, I believe that it is worth it, because the ecosystem is developing, and everybody who is doing social work, who is getting into it, will have to ensure that 90% of the amount is spent correctly, right? So even I would say one step further, all CSR companies must promote their own NGOs. See, I'm not here to ask money for Unnati, right? That is one aspect of it. Everyone, all NGOs require, I also require. But I'm saying a CSR company must say, I want to see my NGO on the SSC. Let him give 10% through SSC and probably the 90% directly, right? It is okay. But create value in the ecosystem. The country requires it. This is how I would look at it.
Agreed. I have been watching Unnati's financials. I think there has been a tremendous increase in the funding, what, the corpus, the funds what Unnati has received. Sir, maybe 4 to 5 times it has increased from the time of before listing and as you stand today?
In the period 22-23 to now, we grew from 7 crores as an organization to last year, I think 30 plus crores. So we have definitely developed, and it is definitely happened. What you said initially in your opening remarks on visibility, we are a small NGO. 7 crores is not a very big NGO, right? For having been there for so many years, but the visibility we got through this is unbelievable. It is unbelievable, and for us, it was the visibility came without our knowledge. And then we did not even imagine that we will be the first. You know, we were not
Yes, yes.
knowing anything about it, right? But the idea was, can we build on it? Can we keep doing this? Can we create an ecosystem which is so important for this country? So I think that has definitely helped us.
Any further queries?
Yeah, one Sudarshan said again. Sorry, one question to Mr. Ramesh from all the practical wisdom he has gained. Ramesh, just wanted to understand what has been the using the economist term here. They call it the customer acquisition cost, right? In terms of time, legal fee, social audit, internal staff time. One of the concerns all NGOs have is complaints. When you heard listing, even for profit, it's daunting. So, want to understand, how did you go about this journey? Is there any cost that you can attribute vis-a-vis to how you would have gone about if not for SSC?
So this is a very valid question, and the cost benefit may not seem good, and that is one of the reasons to answer you why the listings are not that many, because the amount of effort which goes into making it happen the first time was so difficult, because we had to pave the path, right? But we were brilliantly supported by NSC and SEBI. 24 hours, we will give sir, we are an NGO, we cannot have peer review. How can we afford peer review? Immediately, within 2 days, it will come. Yes, NGOs can be exempt from peer review. So this NCD clauses are not happening. Can we do this? They used to come back. So the first listing which happened was quite tough. The second listing, you will not believe, we did everything and gave it to the lawyer. Lawyer went through everything, and said we had completed the whole process in 45 days. Right? Same happened for the third. But having said this, there's a process which is it is big in the sense if a simple example I'll just give you. Suppose you ask somebody, how do you make sambar or tea or something? What can happen is, yes, you have to put a vessel, then pour water, then light the gas. But somebody will say, I'll just make tea. Okay, it's so easy. So you need to get into that groove to understand, oh, this will be required on a later date. This detail are required. So we capture that detail, keep it ready. So those kind of awareness while you keep doing your knowledge has to increase. Once that happens and your housekeeping, your record keeping, all those things improve because you know that you have to go back again. So what you are doing is while you are doing, you are also making sure that these are captured properly. Once you do that, I think then the pain is less. But if you see a cost and this one ratio, I think at this point of time, it is high, definitely higher. There could be questions raised. Should I? Why should I so much? You will end up spending almost 10 lakh or rupees every listing. Why should I lose 10 lakh or rupees? These are all questions which comes to the NGO. But
Yeah.
I think it is a very, very important aspect. What they are missing out is the kind of impact they will create, the kind of credibility they. Sir, I will give a different twist to the same question, Sudarshan sir. I have been in social service for 40 years. Even today, I go and sit in front of somebody. Shilpaji mentioned the first question is that only. What do you think of an NGO when he comes and asks money? I come and sit in front of you and I ask, sir, I am doing this. Please give me money. The first thing which comes to your mind is this fellow okay? Is he going to use the money properly? This is after 40 years of being in service, sir. At some point, we also want to get liberated. Somebody doesn't say, question our credibility, our intention, and all that, and says, yeah, okay, fine. So I think that is a very important aspect for any NGO, any leader who is in this line. So that definitely will come to SSC.
Yeah, Sudarshanji, there is one more thing, like, it's just not about the numbers you are impacting, but also visibility part, right? The kind of, spread of unique investors NSE per se has, I can tell you that when we were talking about one differentiator between when we were talking about crowdfunding and SSC, NSE has 13 crore plus unique investors, and they belong to almost 100% of pin codes, right? So that also gives an opportunity, whereas one entire cohort of NPOs, where there are lakhs of NPOs, and one thing is clear that many are feeling that existential crisis also, because there's so many credibility is something which is a big currency there. And this is going to be differentiator where once you come on social stock exchange and raise fund, and if one NPO is from, say, for example, Bangalore and one part of country, they have all the positive reasons to attract funding from other part. May not be through volume, but Sir's third project, there were 70 odd, donors, out of which he realized that he was not aware of who these 53, 52 people are. So that is the power of that organic fundraising. And it's just not CSR. We are focusing on CSR, but one recent report by Ashoka University says that more than 55,000 crore comes through retail funding. Only irony is more than 40% goes to religious funding, and more than 40% goes to beggars, where there is no impact indicator, no assessment, nothing. It's all emotion based. Maybe because all those donors, they do not have any other avenue, right? So the idea is how they get to know about social stock exchange. And as a part of that, as a part of this capacity building foundation, we have recently started one project which will work on basis of like this mutual fund sahi hai. We call it like, human centered, design based social behavior change communication. So it will just not create awareness, but also will nudge about giving, right? Though that is a part of our culture, we are anyways donating to in some or other means. But once people will get to know that there's something called a parallel avenue called social stock exchange, where I'm impacting lives gradually, like it will bring some time where I would love to give 1,000 rupees to the cause I care for, rather than going to some place and giving money without knowing where my money is going. So those things are part of the plan, and one step at a time. And when it comes to like, this unit economics and all those stuff, probably one thing is very important is if I'm doing a great job, I have all the reasons to be appreciated for that, right? People should know that who the NPO is. And honestly, if I'm in Bandra and I'm running one NPO, even Santa Cruz people do not know if there is one NPO in Bandra and doing certain jobs. Third thing is also about building that awareness around different level of different intensity of causes. Like, most of the people, they will know about health, poverty, hunger and all those things. But if you ask them what in health, what in hunger, what in poverty, who are your target group, we may not be able to know as a normal citizen. But if somebody is saying, I work for, kind of vulnerable women who are forced for human trafficking, and I'm working for them, I'm working for autistic people. So these different niche areas where many NPOs are working and they are not known, right? It will also bring a different level of compassion in ourselves, right? Where I will see, oh, this project is coming on SSC. I would love to fund this project because I can connect with this cause where nation needs to, kind of eradicate these problems. And that is how we can move towards a kind of developed nation. It's somebody was saying that maybe like, GDP is growing, but per capita income is a concern. Right. So that is how we can create a kind of inclusive overarching effect where, it can create that impact at that level also. It's not like just for skill development or just for, health or just for climate change, but kind of it will touch base all the important causes where it needs support. And that can also come up or come out through these awareness, right? So this is a platform where I believe that visibility, that awareness will be increased. And at the end, social stock exchange is not the only platform. This can be a catalyst to other things. When we say, as Ramesh sir said, that 90% is still like, available with corporates. And if it is 10%, it is up to 10%. So that 10% can work as a catalyst to those corporates to decide who are doing great job. Nobody stops them doing bilateral funding to those NPOs if they are satisfied with their 10% funding to one NPO, right? So that will work as that. And I tell you certain examples. Even if when CSR was not there, so many corporates reached out to us saying that we work for this areas. This is our geography. Can you please suggest us some NPO which is like, working in that locality? We help them connect. And we received some messages from NPOs also saying, thanks for the introduction. We have received 2 crore fund through this. Those funds are not counted as a fund raised on social stock exchange. But as long as this platform is enabling a wider, system overall, like, ecosystem of fundraising, it's a victory, right? It's a win-win. Yeah. So
Neeraj, can I ask one final question?
We have already crossed it, Paji. So yeah, just last question so that.
There is this hospital, there is this trust which has constructed a hospital out of its own funds. And now for operational expenditure and the working capital, they require, say for example, okay. So this kind of a need by a social enterprise, how can it be addressed under social stock exchange regime? I understand this is not a project in the context of a project, but they also do many other food, food for children, health campaign separately they have. And this hospital is also, it's almost nearing completion. So mostly for OPEX they require. So can you just throw some light on this practical
Yeah, so on
queries? where it
social
comes-
stock exchange, till now, there are only projects allowed to raise fund. However, there are different setups, like, you need some kind of routine-based fundraising. Concurrently, you require funds. So what can be done? There is another setup along with what currently the projects are coming with some start date, end date. That is how projects work. You have some timeline, you have some project fund that you're mentioning there, how much you want to raise as a kind of capital, what will be the impact number. There is another parallel setup as a part of the same system where you can say that I have a kind of regular need of fund for this project. I want to support this for, say, for example, these many years. And I want to raise fund on routine basis. Like, it's not like that. In that case, you will not have to come up with separate project at separate time, like, after some time. You can take one approval at one go, saying that in this 6 months or 1 year, I would require this much fund. So I will open my issuance. After this period, I will open my second one. After this much, I will open my third one. And that is how that will also help you out, delivering that result in that first period and creating that story as a part of engaging with further donors for the second one. You don't need a kind of multiple approval for multiple projects and multiple submissions, and that will go on. So it can be done phase wise, tranche wise manner as well, though we are yet to see that kind of project, but it can be done. There is a setup, and if you go through our checklist for listing, it is mentioned there. And if you need further clarity, and if we have to uh, come for certain projects like that, we can have a kind of one-to-one discussion, because that is a very unique proposition. There are needs, right? Like where some organizations like Akshaya Patra and all those people are raising funds like that. In hospitals also, if you are reaching out to certain, like, beneficiaries, it is a kind of regular requirement of fund. Yeah, so in that case, there is a setup and provision. We are yet to try and test that. It is there, but if required, we can have a kind of separate conversation around that as well. Yeah.
Yes, Neeraj.
So,
you.
oh, it's 12:50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, before we conclude, I would like to ask all the three esteemed speaker and panelists to have a short concluding remark from them, starting with Shilpa ji.
I'm absolutely happy by the way even Mr. Ramesh Swami and Mr. Kaushal Kumar are approachable, because so many people are having so many doubts, professional, social enterprises, corporates, but then we don't know, because like I asked a query that is specific to my case. I can't really, understand from the framework as it stands now as to where do I stand for my query. So, thank you so much for being so approachable, and both of you readily, agreed for this. And thanks, Neeraj, for arranging such a knowledgeable session wherein, there could be many more opportunities coming up for many social enterprises. And this is just a humble beginning by FinTrack. Thanks for the panelists and for FinTrack.
Thank you, Shilpa ji. Ramesh ji, concluding remark from your side.
Yeah, thanks a lot, first of all, FinTrack and Neeraj, and really appreciate this, because we believe in this social stock exchange. We believe that this is a great platform for the country. So personally, I believe in it a lot, and I believe again that the company secretaries have a very big role to play in this specific field, because you are the main people who are custodians of governance and compliance. Audit in chartered accountants have always been doing a phenomenal job in terms of the balance sheet and rupee being spent, all that. But on the compliance part, the company secretaries have been doing it, but have not been part of the mainstream of CSR. So I believe that this platform makes your team a very, very critical part of that journey, and your advice to the board on governance and why we should strengthen this ecosystem matters a lot. So I believe that you have a big role to play.
Thank you, sir. And finally, Mr. Kaushal, say concluding remark from you.
Yeah, so I would say that we are all trying our best to help our nation, right? We all are needed in the ecosystem. So all these questions, all these curiosities should keep on flowing, right? And we are just a call away, and it's not you or I, it's all us together, right? Working towards making something successful, for our nation, not because like we have to showcase to the world that we can be successful, but this is how it can catalyze the entire ecosystem and give due to who all are doing great job, right? Because there should be some differentiation through that credibility and trust, and we are trying to bank on that. So this was just a kind of food for thought what we did in last 1.5 and 2 hours, and let's keep this flowing. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I would first thank the esteemed speakers, Shilpa ji, Kaushal and Ramesh ji, for joining, taking out time from your busy schedule. Obviously, this is a topic which is very close to a lot of people's heart, and this is a topic which needs further discussion, evaluation, understanding. Because with these type of events and all, I think more and more education and more knowledge sharing can be done. Because this is an area which is an upcoming area, and purely so it has two verticals. I think one is purely from a social point of view, and another is purely from a professional point of view, because it's an emerging area for a lot of professionals to get into. And as per tradition, I would ask the participants if anybody would want to do a formal thanks to the speakers. I think Mr. Surashan or Mr. Elvis, anybody interested in doing a formal note of thanks?
No, happy to pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I think Mr. Jyotindra is over to you, Mr. Jyotindra.
Yeah, it was really a knowledgeful, and it's a hands full of practical doubt clearance session, and definitely thanks a lot to Mr. Kausal to clearing all of those doubts, and definitely it will help us in contributing as chartered accountant, as a social auditor. Have couple of contributions I've already done in doing the social impact assessment. Going forward, it will definitely give us wing to improve and contribute to value additions. Thank you, Mr. Kausal and Ms. Silpa.
And thank you so much for having me here. And it's always cherry on the cake when Ramesh sir is around. Yeah, we recently met. We had a lot of discussions, and soon we are going to meet in Bangalore also to have some deliberations and to serve how much we can do for this platform. And we all are together in one boat. You don't consider it as in like we are exchange and you are NPO. We all are one, and we will work together on this. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Ramesh ji, I also hail from Bangalore. So looking forward, if possible, we'll get a chance to meet with you.
Anytime, sir. Anytime. Definitely. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.